What do you think of my pile of yarn? So I'm just waiting for Ashley to come and sign on. She's going to join me, and you guys are going to join us, and we're going to talk about some of the yarn that we got when we went to New York for Rhinebeck and India Untangled. And then we're going to let you know that on Saturday we're going to do a really big long one with all the gory details about how we got there, how Canadians from the West Coast get there, and what it was like to travel, what it was like compared to Knit City, and a bunch of other things. So if you've got questions about the yarn, because Ashley and I are going to try to do this, both of us on the same screen live, so it's kind of new. So we'll see how we go. But if you've got questions, we'll try to answer them at the end, because I think we're going to get confused if we try to answer in the beginning. So hopefully Ashley joins in. It's new for us doing this live story together. So while she waits, I'm going to pile some of my yarn. Hang on. Well, Ashley says it's black. Ashley says she can't see me. I had a lot of yarn. Oh. Here she comes. Oh. Ashley, you have to accept to come into the live. Try it again. Look at all the yarn. It keeps going, you guys. I have a big pile behind me already. Let's see if we can do it this time. Here she comes.
All right, with technical difficulties, we are here.
There she is.
Live from Vancouver.
Oh, there we go.
That's all right. Yeah, we'll be recording this and sending out the link here as well. So for those who have to join later, we'll do that.
My pile of yarn over here is too big. I'm moving my yarn, and there's not enough space in my pile.
You've got a problem, Sarah. How much money did we spend at Rhinebeck?
No, not any. Nothing,
right?
Nothing above our customs limit or anything.
That was one of the questions from your probably top fan there on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, my hubby? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Awesome.
Okay,
do you want to start off with what you got?
Oh, yeah, you wanted me to start, didn't you?
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
No.
Way too much yarn. Never enough yarn. Okay, so what did we do? We went to India Untangled.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to admit, I froze a little bit at India Untangled and wandered around and looked at all of the yarn a whole bunch. And I had a couple of patterns in my brain, and I ended up finally settling on the Who Made. So I got enough for a Zweig with a German accent. So it is. This is pretty accurate, actually. So it's a lovely cream base with some army greens and actually a little bit of pink popped in there with this green. I know you guys are sick of seeing my yarn. I'm sorry. I'm still loving it all. So it's one sweater quantity that I got.
And I think that white's going to be really good with your hair color.
I like it. We'll see how long it takes for me to spill something on it, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
Notice the black. And then I fell in love with the, I don't know why, I was on a sport weight kick. I was determined to find sport weight. I went all throughout Knit City looking for sport weight and couldn't find it except for one. And so I bought all the sport weight this trip, like all of it. But I went to Backyard Fiberworks, which is a new indie dyer for me. And her colors are just fabulous. This is pretty close to true. This really, really deep blue. Blue, green, aqua. So I got 3 of these, and I'm going to make the Church Mouse all over easy poncho. Can't remember the name of it. But I find when I'm heading in and out of work, and it's not raining too hard and I don't want a jacket, I throw this on. Or I throw like a poncho on. I've got one half poncho and it's fantastic, so I want another one. And I figured this color was nice.
I really liked her stuff because but the colors, I just didn't get there in time to get like a full sweater's quantity of the color I wanted. It's really pretty.
I did too, which is why I ended up with this as well. This was destined for something else, and now I found a new project. Oh, I know what I'm making with it. I am making the Westminster wrap. So we ended up meeting Jen, who's a designer from England, and she walked into the coffee shop, and you and I both were like, "Oh, where'd you get that shawl? It's so gorgeous. What designer is it? What pattern?" She's like, "Oh, it's mine." And so we had this instant friendship with her. And so that's what I'm going to make out of this. It's not the right weight, but I know because it's a wrap shawl that I can modify it, and it won't be a big deal. And it's this really lovely lavender purple, which, anyways. And that's what I got on Indie Untangled. What'd you get?
It's awesome. So just a note too that we're recording this, right, Sarah? We're recording this. We're going to put it on YouTube, and we'll put in the comments all the links to everybody and what our planned projects are, which may change, but you never know. I also was looking for a general sport weight. My friend Marianella had this beautiful sandstone from Madeline Tosh, and I've kind of always been looking for a more sandstony natural color. So I got a sweater's worth of magpie fibers, and it's pretty close to I know my light's a little bit yellow, but it's pretty close to the true shade. So it's kind of a sandstony color. So that's in Swanky DK. So it's going to be a much easier sweater and cardigan to knit and faster than a fingering weight. So I'm pretty excited about that.
My sport weight.
Yeah, exactly. The next stuff I got, there's a yarn shop there that was carrying a lot of European yarns, so stuff we can't get that easily unless we order online, of course, and shipping is atrocious, and that's how we justified to ourselves mostly, but also to our husbands, that we needed to buy so much yarn this trip, because not only is the exchange rate for us Canadians crazy, the shipping is actually the worst part, just because Canada Post unfortunately doesn't have the best rate. So I got this kind of blue toned pink sweater weight quantity. It's a fingering from the Uncommon thread. It's called Posh Fingering and Into Dust. And yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. And the ladies there really helped out with, they actually pulled a 4th skein, which I needed from a kit already on my behalf. So that was really generous. So I'll link to them in our notes because I've forgotten their name. And I believe that was, and I guess some non-yarn paraphernalia was you got some things as well. Yeah, it's handy. This cool sweater ornament that you basically take some embroidery floss thread and put it through and make your own little, Fair Isle sweater in minutes, and then you can put it up on the tree. So I thought it was super cute. It's out of wood. It's burned in, I believe. And I should have gotten the kit where she actually sells it by itself, or you can get the embroidery floss with it. I was kind of thinking that I would choose my own colors, but then that means going to the store and getting embroidery floss. So we'll see about that.
So I still have all my embroidery floss from the early 90s and all my friendship bracelets. So you just let me know what shade of color you want, and I'll send it to you in the mail.
You can ship it over.
I have a whole kit of it. Yes. Awesome. So I got that as well.
That's from katrinkles.com, so pretty cool. So pretty fun. And they had like mittens and other cool shapes too, but I thought and
they had little guys like this, where it says this project bag belongs to, and then you can put your initials. And so of course with all of my project bags, I got that. And this was a pretty awesome souvenir that I got. So it's on a lobster clasp, and it has the New York Sheep and Wool Festival initials on it with the year.
I don't think I actually saw that. That was cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I got those from Katrinkles. Her booth was so cute. There were so many fun things and so many buttons. I don't use buttons on a lot of my projects, so I didn't get any buttons, but they were super, super cute, especially if you're making a like a kid sweater with all the little ones.
Mhm.
Oh, right. So somebody in the comments is just saying you can use fingering scraps for the yarn
Yeah,
for this as well. I don't know, Ashley. I don't know if you can see the comments, but I can. So there's a
yeah, I
couple of
can see.
people
Yeah,
just saying hi. Perfect.
yeah.
Um, did you get any other non-things at Indie?
That was it that I recollect
So
buying anyway.
I also got my sheep pin. It's the Autumnal sheep pin from Pandia's. She's known as Nimrus on Instagram, and so she's got a couple of sheep that have a couple of different themes. And I thought this one was really kind of reminiscent, or would remind me of Rhinebeck in the fall. And so I picked up this one. I was on the hunt for another pin that I missed out on because we got there too late. So I'm going to bite the bullet and pay the international shipping when she restocks.
Do you want to tell
That's
everybody which one that is?
It was the Shelly Can pin. I felt really bad because I could have pre-ordered it and I didn't, and so that's one of my regrets. And it's the cedar cider mug and donut, the apple cider donut pin, which of course we indulged in a few of those when we were there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's is that all for Indie? That's just Friday
Yeah,
night of the Rhinebeck weekend.
yeah. Maybe we can. I'll describe the shopping experience briefly, and then we can go on to the next one. We'll do more details on Saturday with our big, long, detailed post. This is kind of our tester, but the experience, because it was ticketed and there was numerous time slots, we were in the second time slot to last. So like I mentioned, I think some popular items of sweater quantities were already gone, but there was, for the most part, it was really casual. You can kind of just go around to each of the booths, kind of get an initial assessment, and then actually go around and purchase. And I didn't feel too pressured. I don't know about you, Sarah, but it was pretty casual.
The big clock on the wall. I heard somebody say, "Oh, have you seen the big clock? It's counting down." I'm like, "No, don't let me look." I didn't want to
Yeah.
look. I'm like, "Nope, I'm not looking." And then all of a sudden somebody pointed at it. I'm like, "Oh!" I took a photo of it and put it on Instagram. It was this huge screen. It's counting down on seconds, flashing, flashing.
You get about 2 hours. So thankfully that was okay. But it was a little bit pressure in that sense of the massive screen PowerPoint countdown clock. And literally we were escorted out by security at that time because God forbid that there were extra knitters from the time
was up. You had 1 minute and we were in the back corner and you had to leave.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's pretty awesome. So yeah. Do you want to go next with Rhinebeck? So the next day is the actual Rhinebeck, which is why we went. Indie is a separate event from Rhinebeck, but is hosted because a lot of vendors can't get into Rhinebeck. You basically have to die or decide to move to be able to, give up a spot. So, and actually get a spot. So, there's a lot of independent dyers that have formed this indie event, so you can go see them there, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see them.
Yeah. So we made a plan of attack. We'll talk about that more later, how that plan of attack worked. But we decided that we were both actually going to go to Owool first, and so we went to Owool a few times over the weekend. But the first time we went, I had my list of sweaters, and this was my sweater quantity. So this is the Owool. It's O-wash worsted. And it is so soft and lovely.
Mm-hmm.
I've already got requests from people to come over and visit and smush it. So I'm stacking it this way because this is my yoke. How awkward is this? Can you see it all? So I am going to make Mountain Mist tin can knits out of their Strange Brew. And so the dark blue is going to be the body. And it's lovely. And I just actually finished a hat out of the same base, and it's really lovely and drapey and gorgeous. And so that's going to be the base, and then these are going to be the mountains fading up into kind of the sky. And so I thought this looked like a sunset, which I thought was really neat to fade from the cool mountains into these colors, because if you've seen a couple of my posts, we have an ocean view, which is fantastic. And so we get the sunrises, and it looks very much like this, especially in the wintertime. So I'm super excited about that sweater quantity.
Did you tell your husband that that's why you selected those colors for the yoke?
No, I didn't. When I'm knitting it, he might ask.
Yes.
But otherwise, he goes, "Oh, nice, pretty. Uh-huh. Can I have another orange toque?"
Yeah.
And that's kind of the
Exactly.
extent of the involvement. He very much appreciates his orange toque, so I shouldn't say that he doesn't. Um, but I've just turned into a sweater knitter, so I've got one pullover now and 3 cardigans, and I'm just getting into the pullovers. I've decided that cardigans don't sit on my shoulders as well, so now it's all the pullovers. I also got this guy. So you can see he's already gone and dusted. He turned into a tread hat by Shannon Cook for a gift, and so that is actually blocking right now. So that was one of the ones that I got. It's they're really lovely. They're lovely colors, but they're very nature inspired colors, if that makes sense, right? More wool. So I got this color in sport. Sport weight. So this is the oyster mushroom color, and I got enough of this to do one of the Josie Peckman's I Fell For You vest, and it's one that has eluded me. I have tried to make it over and over and over again, and it hasn't. So this is my lucky yarn. This is going to be how I'm going to make it. But anyways, so I've got a long vest quantity of this. And then I think on the 4th time we went back, I ended up getting, I know, I ended
I
up
thought you were just
getting,
going back to Cock Tour. You got
yeah, and
sucked
then there
in.
was yarn. There was so much yarn. It was so lovely. So this is actually the fingering base. All of the yarn that I got there was, no, I got worsted sport, and now I've got fingering. So I can give full reviews on all of it. But this is actually the same colorway as my sweater. It looks a little bit different. It's called Pearly Muscle, and this is going to be a Hohi boxy, is what I'm going to make this one. So it's not going to be done for a year or so, but that's what I'm going to get. And then after that, we split up because we decided we were going to, and I ran based on Elise's recommendation. I ran for Cormo at the Fox Hill Farm. So Cormo is something that I've never had the chance to touch in person because it's a breed that we don't typically see on the west coast of Canada. And so I ended up getting the Cormo Cross, and oh my God, you guys, it is so soft. I just sat in the booth doing this, trying to figure out. So I'm going to make a fin tree shell, Knox Mountain Knit Co. That was their shell that they released at Knit City, and I loved it, and I wanted to make it. And that's what I'm going to make, and it's going to feel lovely and awesome and amazing.
It's going to be awesome.
Then I went to Greenwood Hill Farm and picked up some of their merino. I'm going to make some mitts out of this. When my mom saw my post, she's like, "And you're going to make mitts for your mother?" And I was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm knitting you other things." And then I have to go hunting for 2 more skeins, which are buried underneath all of the other. I told you it's kind of crazy. So the one skein that I didn't, I physically got it at Rhinebeck, but she didn't have a booth there. Annie of Knitting It Up was very, very kind. We helped her out with some tickets for India Untangled, and so she gifted me this skein, which is really, really pretty and lovely. But the one, and I knew I wasn't going to go for one skein wonders, but I had been following Primrose Yarn Co. on the internet, and oh my gosh, their colors are freaking amazing. And so I went into the booth. I knew I was going to get a single, and so this is actually a fingering single, not a ply, and it's called Smoking Gun, ironically. And the colors are they're just beautiful, and this is pretty true. I got to back up so it can focus. This is a pretty true color, and it's got that lovely quasi crimp in it. So I'll find a shawl to make out of it. But it's just, I love singles on shawls. And oh, I got one more thing.
This is the softest of all. Great.
I promised that I wasn't going to bring home any roving. So this is the not roving that I brought home. I am a spinner. I'm still a newish spinner. I don't have that many hours on the wheel, but I felt this unscoured Rambouillet top from Lisa Souza, who's actually from the west coast of North America. She's in California, but it's so soft. Oh my God. So I'm going to do my best to do a single ply. I'm going to try not to ply it. I'm going to try to do a single ply, a pretty lofty one, and I'm going to make a cabled hat. I've always wanted a white cabled hat, and I haven't been able to do it. So eventually, you know, probably a year or two from now, by the time I spin it, quite honestly, and then get to it. That, I believe, is my last Rhinebeck purchase. You can prove me wrong later if you want.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm guaranteed there's going to be a and. So yeah, like Sarah said, we went to Wool. The Rhinebeck, I guess the New York Wool and Sheep Festival, Sheep and Wool Festival. No one actually calls it that. They call it Rhinebeck. Has a list of vendors, and there's about 325 lines when you copy it into Excel. So small booths, but multiple, or there's vendors in multiple booths. So it's not 300, it's about 300 vendors. So we went through, prior to this trip, every single one, copied and pasted their website into Google, and of course, you know, came up with their website. But I would say about 50% their website wasn't working and or didn't have one. So out of all the websites, both of us really enjoyed Wool's aesthetic, the, you know, kind of clean, crisp pictures, just gorgeous dollops of wool. It was like they were little ice cream dollops. It's beautiful. So we're super excited. We don't have it out here. And again, look at all that money that we obviously saved on shipping, right, Sarah? So I also went to Wool, and we kept thinking about Wool as we were going through Rhinebeck every single time. We went to a new bar, and we're like, oh, you know what, but Wool. And so we were comparing everything.
Where's Barn 35? Let's go back to Barn 35.
So, and we did that numerous times, like Sarah said, 4, I think. So we went to Wool and several times, and I was kind of looking out for the perfect light blue. I'm thinking spring short sleeve sweaters, so like t-shirts, but just kind of flowy. So I found the perfect light blue that it's a little bit lighter than it's showing here. It's a little bit more bluey, so I think a sky blue. And I basically got all fingering because I didn't have specific projects in mind, but just wanted to get enough for it. So then we had, I wanted to find the perfect mint green, and again, a little bit off here.
Oh, yeah. So that mint green in real life is fantastic. I have seen it in real life. It's you'll have to like trust us on this one.
Mint. I'm not sure what kind of mint, but it's minty and it's lovely and it's super light. So we'll get some better pictures of that, of course. And then I am trying to challenge myself, and I've always admired Emily and Alexa from Tin Can Knits, but Emily Reed, who's Alexa's sister-in-law. The oranges and kind of coppery tones, I've always wanted a sweater in that. So I saw Wool's coppery yellow, and it was just, you know, gorgeous. So I'm pretty excited to start knitting with all of them. I don't really have a number 1 to knit with. I just want to knit them all at once, so I don't really know. The cool thing about this is the twist on here is pretty tight, so it's pretty springy. So I think it'll make a really nice cardigan or t-shirt kind of flow. I'm thinking something from Amarisu maybe. So sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. But that was basically all of my haul from there. There were a lot of vendors that I'm like, oh, I would get that, but I'm just not quite sure. And I think one of my big regrets was not having enough time to plan projects out behind there, because it's just, there's a massive amount of vendors from super local to, you know, bigger companies. So I went to Harrisville right after to look at their nightshades collection, but unfortunately the nightshades is only available in DK right now. And one of the projects, Emily Green's divide pattern, I had on my list, but it was for DK, but because it's so structured and the nightshades are so dark that I think it'll hide all the lines. So I didn't end up purchasing nightshades, but I really am excited for nightshades to come out in different weights, and then also potentially getting it locally, hopefully.
Yep.
So yeah, so that was Rhinebeck and the Hull, and then we got to go back to Manhattan after and spend a day or two there, and got to go to Pearl Soho. So not only did we get to do yarn shopping for 3 days, but it was actually 5.5. And I also purchased, I was waiting for Pearl Soho just to be able to show Sarah, and just with all the fabric from her sewing side, but also too that Harrisville carried Brooklyn tweed, and I wanted to get some Brooklyn tweed, and I would have done it at Harrisville, but the lines were super long, plus I would have had to carry it all back, and it was hard to fit everything in the suitcase as it was. So I waited till Pearl Soho to be able to purchase it there because it was the same price.
Yeah, and you've been to Pearl Soho before, but I hadn't, and so it was new for me to go, and I wasn't expecting on buying anything there. And one of the things that I found challenging, because part of when I buy yarn is I do look at the price. I do price out, okay, this sweater is going to cost me X amount. Because typically I actually have to buy an extra skein compared to the average sizes, right? So the Zweig sweater, I had to buy 5 skeins instead of the typical 4. And so that sweater cost me an extra $30 or $40 compared to everyone else. In Pearl Soho, it's beautiful. If you've seen the photos, it's just beautiful with all of the yarn, and there's no tags, no labels, no nothing. You actually have to go up and you have no idea what brand it is unless you can spot the Brooklyn tweed. You have no idea if it's a Pearl Soho brand or if it's a different yarn. And so you, of course, get drawn to the really lovely, lovely yarn that has the lovely price tag to it. And so I was walking up and down and feeling all of the yarn and watching Ashley look. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait a second, what's this lovely yarn? And I know you guys have seen this. So this is good wool. And I totally wasn't going to get it. And then I felt how lovely it was. And I realized it was the right weight for the Widow's Kiss sweater, which just got released by Thea Coleman. And with this price tag, I couldn't say no. I would never do this, but guys, this is $9.80 per skein. And it is a big, big skein. Like, it's incredible. So I got 4 of them for the sweater, and it was $35 American dollars. Like, insane. So if you need to buy it, and this is because, what is it? Is it DK? I think it's DK. I can't remember what it is. I can't remember if it's DK or worsted. I don't know. I can't remember. It's a really good price. I have a sweater's quantity, and I wasn't planning on it. So I got that at Pearl Soho.
Yeah, you basically jumped up behind me and said, "Look, I've got this sweater quantity of yarn," and you were originally saying,
"Look, it's all mine."
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's a really good color too. I like it. Yes.
And then there's everything you got.
I was pretty, I had planned to go in and purchase about 4 sweaters worth of Brooklyn tweed, and then I quickly took my expectations down to 2 sweaters worth. But I think it'll be really, they'll be great additions to my wardrobe, and we'll be basically knitting our wardrobe for the next couple of years on this stash. But I am going to knit Nook and UK from Lene magazine in the Hayloft. So it's the in Shelter, which is a Brooklyn tweed. I felt also I was justified because Brooklyn tweed, we're in Manhattan, which is close to Brooklyn, etc. It's local.
Good excuse.
Like to say. Yeah, and then I got a sweater's quantity in Shelter of Soot for the, which is the dark charcoal gray, which is not coming through quite. That will be the Thea Coleman Widow's Kiss, so we'll maybe have to knit it together as a cowl. Knit along, for those who don't know acronyms. Yeah, and then I have this random linen, I believe, it could be hemp actually, kind of 20 yarn I picked up. It's a Grello kind of shaded 50 grams each balls that I have no idea what it's made of, but I got it in Taiwan, in Taipei, random arts and crafts streets, Dawah Street, I believe, and lo and behold, there's yarn. So I've been looking for something to pair it with for years, honestly, and I came across this Pearl Soho lantern, which is a 61% cotton, 39% linen blend. So I really liked kind of the nubbins on it. So I've got 2 skeins of that to be able to pair with it, I think, as some sort of wrap. So pattern to be determined.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's the end of my, pretty sure. And I was pretty excited today. I tested putting it away and it all fit into bins. So I'm pretty happy. I know that makes my husband.
Bags.
Just means you're going to have to start knitting faster. That's all.
Yes, I know. Knit faster, knit faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Is there another project that you're going to start for, like, out of your stash? Or are you going to start on one first?
I have to get through Christmas knitting first.
Yes, me too.
I have Christmas knitting plans, and so I've got another 2 or 3 projects that I have to get through, and then one that wasn't on my list that all of a sudden I realized needed to be on my list.
Yeah.
So I might cast on one of these. I finished that hat pretty quickly, so I actually might cast on the church mouse poncho just because it's literally stocking knit, and so I can do that through the Christmas break or just pop it in when I need to.
Yeah, it's social.
Totally social knitting, nothing too complicated.
Exactly.
We'll go from there. And I probably don't have to swatch for it, and I don't really care about gauge or size because it's a poncho.
What is your swatching
to start
technique
a sweater?
For everybody's interest? What is your swatching technique right now for sweaters, Sarah? Do you swatch 4 inches?
No, I'll show you. Hang on a second. This was my last swatch for a t-shirt. Look it here. I swatched. I might have even gotten it wet.
For all of the non-knitters who are watching right now, and I know you are, thank you very much for paying attention to our probably boring podcast, but this is a really tiny little swatch. Normally we do at least 4 inches by 4 inches either way, but yes, you can just multiply. What could happen? It's awesome.
It's just sizing.
Yes, exactly.
It'll fit.
Doesn't matter.
Block that crap out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Well, so we're going to give a lowdown that's going to be quite long on, and very exciting, obviously, on Saturday, probably mid-afternoon, so 2 o'clock-ish. All depends on nap time and locking the older children out of the room. But we found that when we were planning for Rhinebeck, that there were bits and pieces here. There's, famous podcasters who just really spoke about being a podcast and maybe a podcaster at Rhinebeck, and then maybe didn't see all the nitty gritty details. We were really interested because this is, a once in a lifetime bucket list trip for us that we're planners, that we're really interested in the logistics and the little details. And so we'd like to be able to provide what our lessons and learnings and excitements and regrets and best things were that would maybe relate to everybody else who are maybe would travel there one day, and or you can live vicariously through us and hopefully aren't too jealous. But it was pretty great. Our husbands did a lot of support to let us go on this trip, so that was really awesome, and funding the trip. And we may never be able to buy yarn again, but it was definitely a fantastic 6 days. Yeah, amazing. So we'll give some nitty gritty on Saturday, and then we'll record that and make sure that's all the comments are linked so you can skip over parts and skip to the parts that might interest you later on. So you don't have to be live, but we will be live on Saturday.
Yeah. Hopefully this is the best way to record it, so we'll see. It's all a learning experience, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
So in case you've joined us at the end, or in case you've made it to the very end, I'm Riv Creative on Instagram and also on Ravelry. And
I'm Ashley, and I'm Knit Assembly on everything. So, yeah.
yeah.
And if you
So
do have any questions, send us a message ahead of time, after, whatever. We're happy to share. It was super exciting, and while the details are fresh, it'd be great.
yes,
Okay.
all the details
Cool.
are fresh. Okay.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
See you on Saturday. Bye.